What if the free version of ChatGPT you're using right now is already being quietly phased out, and nobody at these companies is going to send you a memo about it?
I just watched a breakdown from a Vietnamese tech channel called Vat Vo Studio, and it completely reframed how I think about every AI subscription I'm paying for. The channel's host laid out something that a lot of us have felt, but never actually said out loud. These AI tools are getting smarter every single month, sure, but they are also getting more expensive and more restricted at almost the exact same pace. And that is not a coincidence. That is a business model. Stick with me here, because by the end of this, you're going to look at your Claude, your Gemini, or your ChatGPT subscription completely differently.
Here's the first data point that stopped me cold. The host tested Gemini 3.1 Pro on a free account. 2 to 3 prompts. That's it. That's all it took to completely drain the token allowance, forcing a 5-hour cooldown before the model would respond again. 5 hours. For 2 or 3 messages. Think about that ratio for a second. If you're a student trying to get help with an assignment, or a freelancer trying to knock out client work, that's not a tool anymore. That's a slot machine that pays out twice and then locks you out of the casino.
But here's where it gets even more interesting, and honestly a little unsettling. The host wasn't just complaining about the free tier. He said the paid tier is tightening up too. He used to run coding sessions on Gemini Pro for hours without hitting a token wall. Now, using the exact same paid plan, he's getting rate limited after just 1 to 2 hours of moderately heavy prompting. That's the paid version. The one you're supposed to trust because you're already handing over your credit card. If paid users are getting squeezed this hard, what does that tell you about where this is all heading?
And then there's the example that honestly made my jaw drop a little. He mentioned testing Claude Fable 5, one of the newest and most capable models out there, by asking it to build a Minecraft-style game. 2 to 3 coding prompts in, completely maxed out. 0 tokens left for a flagship model. This is the part where I think a lot of viewers in the comments started connecting dots, because one commenter pointed out that Anthropic actually restructured how Claude's premium tier works. It used to be that a Claude Pro subscription just gave you access, flat rate, use it as much as you reasonably wanted. Now it's shifted toward token-based consumption even within paid plans, meaning the more you use it, the more it costs you on top of what you're already paying monthly. That's a fundamental shift in the relationship between the user and the product, and I don't think enough people are talking about it.
So why is this actually happening? Let's get into the real mechanics, because this is where the video moves from complaint territory into something genuinely useful to understand.
The first reason is brutally simple. Infrastructure costs are exploding. Every time a company wants to deploy a new frontier model, they are paying for specialized AI chips that cost a fortune, building and running data centers that need to operate around the clock, and covering the electricity and cooling bills for server farms that never sleep. Add in the cost of licensing and processing training data, plus salaries for research teams that are some of the highest paid engineers on the planet, and you start to understand why the sticker price keeps climbing. This isn't a subscription to a static piece of software. This is a live, constantly running operation that costs real money every single second it's turned on.
And that leads to the second point, which I think is the most important mental shift in this entire video. AI does not behave like traditional software. When you buy a normal app, you pay once, or you pay a flat subscription and you can use it as much as you want without the company caring. AI doesn't work that way. Every single prompt you type triggers a server-side computation. The longer your question, the heavier your uploaded file, the more expensive that individual request becomes on the back end. The host actually ran a direct comparison, a short, simple question versus uploading a multi-page document and asking for analysis plus a slide deck generation. The gap in processing time and resource consumption was massive, even though from the user's side, both of those felt like just one request. You're not paying for access anymore. You're paying for compute, per action, whether you realize it or not.
Third reason, and this one is honestly kind of wild when you sit with it, the output types have exploded. Back in the early ChatGPT and early Gemini days, you typed a question, you got text back. That was the entire interaction. Now these models generate images, music, video, working code, sometimes all in a single conversation. And generating an image or a video clip is exponentially more computationally expensive than generating a paragraph of text. So as these tools become more capable and more multimodal, the baseline cost of running them scales up right alongside the capability. You wanted a smarter AI. You got one. You also got the bill that comes with it.
The fourth reason is the one that I think most people quietly already suspected but didn't want to admit. These companies are past the land grab phase. In the early days, the strategy was to give away as much free access as possible to build a massive user base fast. Get people hooked, get habits formed, get market share locked in before anyone else could catch up. But once usage habits are established, once millions of people are relying on these tools daily for work, school, or business, the incentive flips. Now it's time to monetize that dependency. The free ride was never the destination. It was the acquisition funnel.
Now here's where I want to push back a little and add my own take, because I don't think this is purely a villain story where AI companies are just greedy, and that's the whole explanation. There's a legitimate infrastructure cost problem happening in parallel with a very real monetization strategy. And both things are true at the same time. The controversial part, the part that actually got people fired up in the comments section, is whether this pricing shift represents companies protecting their investment, or whether it represents a slow, deliberate squeeze designed to make users feel like they can't function without paying more and more each month. One commenter put it in a way that stuck with me. They said this is like getting used to driving a car. You don't walk anymore, so eventually you have no choice but to keep paying for gas. Another commenter flipped that completely and said the real danger isn't the price. It's that people are becoming mentally dependent on AI to the point where their own critical thinking atrophies, and losing access, even temporarily, would actually hurt their ability to function professionally. Which side of that argument do you land on? Because both of those takes were sitting right next to each other in the same comment thread, and honestly, both have merit.
There was also a comment calling out something I think deserves more attention. Someone specifically referenced a major pricing restructure that happened back in June, where the cost calculation method changed and effectively multiplied fees by roughly 10 times compared to the previous system. 10 times. If that's accurate, that's not a gradual price creep. That's a cliff, and it lines up with broader reporting we've seen about premium AI tiers, where certain top-end business plans have reportedly run companies tens of thousands of dollars a month just to maintain enterprise-level AI access. This isn't hypothetical inflation anymore. This is happening in real invoices right now, to real teams.
So let's talk solutions, because the video didn't just diagnose the problem, it actually offered a practical framework, and I want to break this down, because some of it is genuinely underrated advice that most casual users never think about.
Tip 1. Start a new chat for every distinct task. This sounds almost too simple, but here's the mechanism behind it. Every time you send a new message in an ongoing conversation, the model has to reread the entire chat history up to that point to maintain context. That means a conversation that's been running for hours is burning significantly more tokens per message than a brand new conversation would, even if the actual question you're asking is identical. One commenter in the thread backed this up from personal testing, saying that when they compared Asking the same number of questions in a single long thread versus spreading them across fresh conversations, the fresh conversations consistently consumed fewer tokens overall. The trade-off, and this is a real one, is that if you're deep into a coding project or a long creative process, starting over loses continuity. So it's a genuine trade-off between efficiency and convenience, not a free lunch.
Tip 2, and this one I think is criminally underused. Instead of sending a brand new follow-up prompt when a response doesn't quite hit the mark, use the edit function on your original message. Say you ask the AI to summarize an article and the summary came back too long. Most people's instinct is to type a new message saying, "Make it shorter." But that just adds another full exchange to the token count. Editing your original prompt and adding a length constraint effectively overwrites the previous exchange in the model's active memory, meaning the wasted output doesn't keep accumulating in the background. It's a small habit change that compounds significantly over a long session.
Tip 3. For those marathon conversations, the 15 to 20 message threads where you're deep into a project, ask the AI to summarize the key decisions and important context, then copy that summary into a brand new chat. This gives you a clean slate with all the critical information intact, without dragging along the full token weight of everything that led up to it. It's basically compressing your context window manually, and it works.
Tip 4, and honestly the one that ties everything together, match the model to the task. This is where the host made an observation that I think a lot of people need to hear because it's uncomfortable but true. A huge number of users default to the most powerful, most expensive model available for every single query, even basic ones. Asking a flagship reasoning model, something built for complex coding or multi-step logical problems, to summarize a paragraph or check the weather is like hiring a structural engineer to hang a picture frame. The output difference between a premium model and a standard model on simple tasks is often negligible. Save the heavyweight models for actual heavyweight work, serious coding, deep analysis, complex reasoning chains. Use lighter, faster models for basic lookups, quick summaries, and casual questions. That single habit shift alone can dramatically extend how far your token budget stretches every single month.
Now, stepping back from the tactics for a second, I want to address something that came up repeatedly in the comment section, because it's genuinely the elephant in the room. Multiple people brought up open source and local models as an escape hatch. Running smaller models directly on your own device, no subscription, no token meter, no 5-hour cooldown timer. Some commenters mentioned experimenting with Google's on-device AI tools running on modest hardware and getting surprisingly usable results for basic tasks, especially useful in situations without reliable internet access. Others were more skeptical, pointing out that running a genuinely capable local model requires serious hardware. And given how expensive components have gotten, building a machine capable of that isn't exactly the cheap alternative it sounds like on paper. So even the workaround has a cost. It's just a different kind of cost, upfront hardware instead of monthly billing.
There's also a fascinating undercurrent in the comments around Chinese AI models being positioned as the budget alternative. Names like DeepSeek, Qwen, and Kimi came up repeatedly, with commenters split on whether these models are legitimately competitive or falling behind. One commenter dismissed an older DeepSeek version as outdated, suggesting newer options had already surpassed it. Another pushed back hard, saying capability discussions miss the point entirely. What matters is whether the tool can actually finish the task you need. And getting rate limited on a powerful model after 2 questions makes the power irrelevant. There was even a pointed reminder buried in the comments that free international AI tools often come with a trade-off most casual users overlook: Your data is frequently used for training in exchange for that free access, so anyone using these budget options was advised to actually read the privacy policy before feeding in sensitive personal information.
But here's the question I keep circling back to, the one nobody in that comment section fully answered. Is this pricing shift actually about AI companies recovering legitimate infrastructure costs? Or is it about training an entire generation of users to feel like they cannot function without a paid subscription? The same way we all quietly accepted that streaming, cloud storage, and software as a service became permanent monthly line items in our budgets instead of one-time purchases. Because once dependency sets in, once your workflow, your job, your creative process is built around having AI assistance available, the leverage in that relationship shifts entirely to the company setting the price. And based on what this video laid out, and based on the sheer number of people in the comments already reporting rate limits, sudden price hikes, and shrinking free tiers, that shift isn't coming. It's already happened. The only real question left is how much of your monthly budget you're willing to let it take next.
If you enjoy this video, please like, share, subscribe and hit the bell to the latest update from my channel. Thank you for watching till the end and see you in the next video.